I tried. I tried to get a drink real quick before the video came on. Look what happened to the poster Sherm put up. He doesn't do a very good job,
hey,
does he?
It's not me. It's the mechanical error. Mechanical error.
How are you guys supposed to get dazed and confused when you can't even see part of it? Up there's the Muppets. Well, I guess you got a view of,
There's Dottie up there.
Where?
Over in the Muppets. Animal.
No, Animal is you.
Well, who's she then, Miss Piggy?
Oh, that's me, you said. Dottie is...
Gonzo?
Yeah. Gonzo. Or Fozzie the bear. Because she looks like a bear.
Okay.
She's our little bear. Okay.
What of it?
It's time for... I thought it'd be time for a story from our Dreams and Miracles book by Ann Spangler. Our True Stories. A Dream About Mom.
Oh, no.
By Charlene Ann Baumbich.
Whatever.
Shut up. I'll start out by reading the introduction.
Whatever.
It looks like it's something else, but I'm not going to say that word. Charlene Ann Baumbich.
Whatever.
Pronounced Baumbach. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
But no relation to the famous Irma.
Yeah, right.
Who's that?
Irma Baumbach.
Who was a born commutator. I don't know Irma Baumbach. I occasionally have brilliant thoughts, she admits with a big grin, and love passing them on, whether they concern the good, the bad, or the dubious. Dubious. I don't understand these big words. What's dubious mean?
Don't ask me, I don't know. I'm to Wellston, I don't know.
Her articles have appeared in numerous publications, including the Chicago Tribune, the Chicago Sun-Times, and Marriage Partnership magazine. She is the author of Don't Miss Your Kids, How to Eat Humble Pie and Not Get Indigestion. Sounds like a good one. Mama said there'd be days like this, but she never said how many. Sounds like a good one, too. And the 12 Days of Christmas. She and her husband, George, are currently surviving midlife together in Glen Ellen, Illinois. In 1975, she got a phone call that her mother had suffered a massive stroke. 2 weeks later, her mother was dead. Here is the story of a powerful dream that healed Charlene's memory of her mother's last days. Okay, now we will get into Charlene's story. My mother had been named after a racehorse, though what? That's what it says.
Racehorse. Okay.
Let me read.
Okay.
My mother had been named after a racehorse. Though I never met the horse, I always knew this mother of mine was a champion in her own right. Beautiful, graceful, fast-paced, and brilliant. As far as I knew, Nellie Ruth hadn't an enemy in the world, even though she once emptied a punch bowl over the head of a blonde bombshell who was putting the moves on my dad. When she was 9 months pregnant, she drove a delivery truck to help my father's new business stay afloat. Both feminine and fearless, she could shoot, skeet, or skin a rabbit with the best of 'em. Once, she even shot a fox that made its way into the basement of our farm. She had every passion and guts, a person of unstoppable spunk. She was beautiful both inside and out. Mom never went anywhere without her toenails painted, her hair done, and perfume trailing. Never until the night of January 14th, 1975. She was only 56 years old when she suffered a massive stroke. I got the call in the middle of the night and flew to Albuquerque the next morning, fearing the worst. My fear exploded the moment I walked into her hospital room. Surely that the body lying in the bed couldn't belong to my mother. All the life, the beauty, the laughter had fled. There was only a limp figure, hooked to a machine with tubes protruding from every orifice. It was more than I could bear. For the next 10 days I stayed with Mom, combing her hair, misting her body with cologne, clasping her hands, desperately hoping to restore some semblance of the woman I had known and loved. I tried not to cry in her presence, unsure whether she could sense my tears. Her neurologist pressured us to pull the plug, but we just couldn't. We had hardly adjusted to the idea of her illness when he told us that her condition was hopeless. It's as though someone extracted your mother's brain, scrambled them, and stuffed them back into her head. They're useless, he explained in the most brutal bedside manner you can imagine. We didn't know whether Mother would die or whether she would live another 30 years in that horrible condition. In the midst of this, I met an angel named Dorothy Booker. To pass the time, I had been working on a macrame project when this wonderful round black woman, whose mother was also in the hospital, started talking to me. Before I knew it, I began pouring out my grief and pain. So many decisions need to be made about Mom's care. I didn't know what to do. I had never lived through a crisis without drawing strength from her, and now she was my crisis. Mom was the one who always told me how beautiful I was. She lavished praise on my cleverness. She admitted every hooky crochet project as though it were the most exquisite work of art. She was the foundation I stood on, the ground that steadied me. If she wasn't there to tell me these things, who would be? What would I do without her bountiful laughter? Dorothy Booker enfolded me in her comforting bosom as I sobbed out my grief. Child, the Lord has your mama right here in the palm of his hand. No matter what you decide, he knows what's best for your mama. He loves your mama more than you can imagine, and he is in charge of your mama. Dorothy eased my grief and comforted me like an angel she was. After 10 days, I returned to my family in the Midwest. Sadly, my last vision of my mother was a tragic one. Collarless, an oxygen mask covered her mouth, and she lay with one eye open, the other closed. What a horrible last impression of a smiling, joyous, large-hearted mother. The memory haunted me. 4 days later, I got the news that Mom had died. Somehow I made it through the funeral, though I was falling apart inside. Weeks followed in which I found myself irritated at anyone who crossed my path. I couldn't understand how friends and family had suddenly grown so stupid. No matter what they did, they drove me to distraction. I began to realize I was the one with the problem. Then I had a dream, more vivid and real than any I have ever experienced. I saw my mother standing in a glass telephone booth filled with light. The background was smoky gray and misty, somewhat blinding, but a bright light surrounded my mother. I couldn't talk to her or touch her, and she didn't talk to me, but we communicated. Her face was absolutely at peace, and she was smiling at me with a brilliance I had never seen before. I could only say she looked beatific, healed, whole, and utterly happy. It was as though she were saying, "Charlene, I'm well, and you are going to be all right. You need to know this." I woke up weeping, but completely at peace. It was an absolute gift of God. The dream had diminished the ugly memories of my mother's illness and replaced them with the most beautiful vision of her I had ever seen. Dorothy Booker's words came back to me. "Child, the Lord has your mama right here in the palm of his hand." My mother was well, and so was I in that moment. So many people are burdened by tragic memories of a loved one's death. I hope the story of my dream will help diminish such memories for others, so that they will not remember their dead in a way that utterly contradicts who they were in life. Despite my mother's suffering, I know she is more beautiful than ever. When I close my eyes, I can see her laughing up a storm, enjoying herself as never before. Knowing she is well and with God gives me joy. And that was Charlene's story, A Dream About Mom. I hope you guys enjoyed Charlene's story, and God willing, I'll see you guys again soon with another story from Ann Spangler's Dreams and Miracles book. Bye guys, God bless.